Todd Williams, CEO, RDA Hunter. Welcome to Hunter Business Insider.
Thank you very much.
Pleased to have you here in a wonderful Enviro Pacific boardroom, and we appreciate their support.
Yep.
Talking about support, you probably wonder where you get all the support from running the RDA and the Hunter. Tell us its progression. You've been there for a while now, so you've seen it evolve.
Yes.
Yeah.
The RDAs have been around for around 2.5 years, and I've been in the role for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's a MOU between the federal and state governments and right across Australia, so it's a network. And the theory is very strong. And the theory is strong because it's got buy-in from all levels of government, and the boards throughout Australia represented by communities and people that represent issues and challenges from the region. So the concept's very strong, and now we're seeing RDAs such as the Hunter actualising some issues, challenges and projects that are specific for the area. I think the real challenge is, and the opportunity is, to tie those local issues into state and national agendas, and that's where you start to get a lot of buy-in. So the conversation, I think, around RDAs, and I can talk on behalf of the Hunter, is changing a bit, and the value about having the whole of government approach to represent a region is very strong.
Mm-hmm. Has that been a while in coming, that clarity of where that multi-level conversation with government?
Yeah, I mean it is. It's a conversation that it's got to mature. RDAs are relatively new, so it takes a long time to go around and meet people and explain how you can add value. And it's really a situation where you're not trying to steal someone's thunder or tell people how it's done, because that's RDAs haven't got that power, jurisdictional power or money to throw around to make people do things. So we're about value adding and trying to work together. Mm-hmm. So the conversation and people have got a greater understanding about that.
So what are some of the projects that you've been working on?
Yep.
Some that you brought to fruition and some in the future?
Well, one of the key things that I think RDA Hunter's done is actually do a status report of the region. It's a very passionate region, and that's a very, very good thing to happen, but you get a lot of issues and challenges that are quite high in the media. So we have to see what that region actually is, and that's very interesting to actually get an understanding of what the region actually is.
Give me a specific.
Well, for example, the region is well known at different governments for being a high producer, like an economic powerhouse. Mm-hmm. But specifically in what areas, we know about coal, but where's the economic breakdown? So depending on what industry you talk to, people have got different thoughts, and things become a truism over time. So you've got to have the stats and the actual factual data to base things on. So that has taken a bit of time.
So that review you talked about went into that, looked at where the facts are and where the hallucinations are.
That's right, yeah. And there's a lot of rhetoric. I mean, the Hunter's the same as every other region in Australia, and RDA's role is to present ourselves positively and to work together to get things from government for the region. Some examples of that have worked really well for us is about the high-speed rail network. Talking about the Hunter's passion, we were starting to argue amongst ourselves about where the high-speed rail stop should be. And that's really not a conversation that is helpful to actually getting the high-speed rail built. So we've organised a group that advocates the Newcastle, Sydney, Canberra bit, the big L-shaped bit, and probably it is the most populous area in Australia, and taking pressure off Sydney. We've taken a delegation down with 5 RDAs, New South Wales Business Chamber, Canberra Business Council. We got bipartisan support from all levels of government, and the question is, do you want a high-speed rail or not? And the question from everyone is yes, and putting aside the money issue, of course. But the second stage of the study is going to come out at the end of the year, and RDA Hunter has led that conversation, and we've actually said to governments, we applaud you for undertaking this work and we want to support you. And it actually took them by surprise. I'm not sure if governments aren't used to having people come down and say, you're doing a good job, we want to actually help you. So I think that's another way that we can work.
I think there's some cynics in the business, well, in the world, in our environment, that suggests that government don't necessarily discourage disharmony.
Mm. Well, yeah, I mean, that's...
It's easy to put money somewhere else. If these people are arguing, well, let's put it somewhere where they're not.
That's right. I mean, I'm an optimist anyway, and my job in the organisation is to present the hunter positively, and so the key messages coming from the region is very important. And if we're not getting on and we've got confusing messaging, that's an issue for us in the hunter, I think. So the High Speed Rail Network group has been a real success, and we're currently working on a metropolitan area for the region. At the moment, we talk about different areas or pockets in the hunter, and they will always have their own identity. But the federal government, and it's a case whereby the conversation is maturing about what the future of the city will be, and how it links together. We've got connectivity of populations and knowledge and infrastructure, but it's between population hubs. So we're doing some work about how all that comes together.
That challenge, because we've talked to, I guess, leaders who concentrate on the city itself.
Yep.
Now your challenge is bigger than that.
Yes, exactly. And the statistics from the federal government is that 80% of the country's GDP comes from cities, and other regions have created a city. The Pilbara, for example, because of their fly-in, fly-out workforce, have decided to build a city. I'm not sure what the definition is of a city, but I think that as the region matures and we grow, we've got to look towards the future about how we all live and work together. So the evolution is very important.
So do you guys go out and search for issues, or do you have issues being brought to you? Does the populace understand where RDA fits?
Well, that's a very good question, because how do you present the region positively again without upsetting a lot of people? And it's the fact thing as well. We don't want to comment. We're not commentators on issues or challenges. We're just trying to present the facts and work through and see there's opportunities. And presenting us as though we have a functioning high-level metropolitan area, and indeed a strategy to present ourselves to governments is a really positive step.
And you're charged with preparing that strategy for the...
Well, no, it's something that RDA has taken upon themselves, and we're working with all levels of government to work out who would be best placed to develop this. Indeed, it may well be RDA, and we'll lead a group, but of course it's no good RDA coming up with a plan if we haven't got governments on side as well, and communities. So it really is a situation where you've got to identify the key players and the stakeholders and people who can actually make decisions and make sure that everyone's got the same information and we can agree on a way forward.
So the airports are a popular thing. Sydney can't decide.
Yep.
You guys have got the opportunity, or I should say the Hunter has an opportunity to grow or work closer with the Air Force in the way your airport works.
Yep.
Is that something the RDA would get involved in that discussion? Or?
Well, yeah, it's all a lot of issues are interlinked, and with the airport, for example, and the RAF, the Hunter actually has got a diversified economy, and I guess the good thing about that is that there's a boom time for coal at the moment. So we don't really have to worry about coal too much, but we should focus our energies on growing the areas that aren't going so well to make sure that we have diversification into the future. And one of the underpinning things for that is about skills and workforce. And I know this is common throughout all of Australia, but what's different with the Hunter is the upper Hunter has officially got no unemployment. We've actually haven't got a skills gap, we've got a HR gap. There's that many jobs, we can't get people to fill them. So we've got different issues than other regions, and we're running a couple of programs about skills and workforce development. One of those is called the ME program, Manufacturing Education Program, and that's funded through the DMO, the Defence Material Organisation, and it links industries and schools, and hope the kids pick maths and science, and they go out onto site into the workforce, into a lot of local industries, and hopefully be enthused by that exposure to the job, and pick maths, engineering and science and continue through the university. Hopefully they'll stay in the region as well.
That would be good. Alliances are critical to your job. You know, at the fear of leaving some out, who are the major players up here?
Well, of course, it's governments primarily, because they have actually got the rules and the jurisdiction to make things happen.
And sometimes the funds.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, it's very difficult. It's the carrot and the stick, and So governments are very important, and depending on what the issue and challenge is depending on who else you engage with. We talked like before about the commentators. There's a lot of people who've got an issue or have strong feelings on things, but it's working out who best to engage with to get things done.
And you also 11 local council choices to work with as well.
Yeah, there's 11 councils, and there's also a very good Hunter region of councils, and we've got a close working relationship with them. And we've got a lot of state members of parliament and also federal members of parliament as well. So it's important that we have a relationship with all of those key players.
Okay. If we look at the next 12 months, what's in line for RDA? We're sitting here reviewing your performance over 2012, 2013.
Yep.
What's on your scorecard for that?
I'm looking forward to the next 12 months, and we'll be coming out with a few papers, and the reasoning behind those issues papers, for example, we want to start the conversation in a number of areas and then champion a group that will take that issue to governments and also inform communities. Mm-hmm. And one of those will be about metropolitan area. Very hard discussion to have. The other one will be around connectivity with our key population areas like the airport, seaport and CBD.
We talk about infrastructure or transport. Is that what connectivity is, or is it?
It's about everything actually. Yeah. It's also knowledge connectivity,
right.
About what we do in the future to work.
And broadband, home.
Exactly, yeah. How businesses work in the future, and you guys know about that, but maybe there's teleworking, for example,
yep.
and how people work and live into the future is an area that we'd like to inform communities about and get involved in.
Okay. We have the power at Hunter Business Insider to say, we can change anything you want to change right now. So this is your moment to say, okay, Mark, wave the wand, fix this for me. What would you like us to fix for you? In the business sense, I don't want to get
in the business sense,
yeah. Just talk of business environment.
Well, I'm not sure there's one specific issue, but the issue of a diversified economy is a problem in itself, because do you pick winners or do you pick the areas that need help for themselves? And because the region is so diversified and we've got a lot of issues but also we've got a lot of challenges, it's probably a resource thing. What I'm really asking is for more resources for everyone, and also to be able to probably have the data to have a better understanding about the areas of the economy and specifically what needs and wants that they would like.
Do you I've almost used my questions out, but the Hunter Research Foundation, we're excited to be partnering with them. Do you use their facilities or?
Definitely, yeah. We're a sponsor.
Okay.
In terms of getting data, we're really lucky to have a local research company here, and it's well received and well respected data that you can use to go to a lot of different instrumentalities or communities, and they know about that data. So it's very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Todd, when we look at the funding, RDA has a pool of funds that applications are received from, I guess, interested parties.
Yep.
How has the Hunter fared in that fund distribution?
Yeah, sure. The first round of the Regional Development Australia Fund got announced, I think, about 3 months ago, and the Hunter was successful with 2 applications. One was for the Hunter Valley Research Foundation. They nearly got $1 million to build a new facility, and also the Newcastle Art Gallery got $7 million. So the Hunter went very well, actually. Most regions got 1 project on average. We got 2, and we...
and significant projects at that.
Yeah, it was and we're looking forward to the second round, so fingers crossed.
And is that an ongoing thing or an ongoing application process? Is that an amount of money for each year?
It's based around a number of factors, including the mineral resource rent tax. So RDAs, because of our working relationship with communities, invite for community infrastructure and what communities want. So there was a very high awareness campaign and also need from the communities about the Hunter Valley Research Foundation and also the gallery for new premises. And I think that was reflected by them actually getting the money. Mm-hmm. And also with the gallery, I personally think this is one of the best results. There was not just community support, but state government funding as well as federal funding. So it was an exercise in collaboration that worked out really well.
Okay, thank you.